Okay, if I navigate to this CDS view, if you see here, both the parameters are mandatory, right? There is no optional parameters, right? On the last class we had saw how to make use of optional parameter by making use of the annotation @environment.system field. Okay, so both the parameters are mandatory here. Here nothing is optional. So now here in this select query, when I am doing select from your CDS view, okay, so if you see here, both the parameters as in Matner and my language I have to specify, right? Now suppose what I do, I just comment this part of code. No, I don't comment this part of entire code, sorry. What I'll do, I'll remove this and I'll make this commented. Okay, now see here an error will come. The parameter p_lang was not bound. So this error will not allow you to activate your code. So if both the parameters are mandatory, you need to specify. So it's not about both the parameters. Here I have both the parameters. So if a CDS view which you are consuming in your ABAP SQL code and you want to get the data from that CDS view, so if all the parameters of that CDS view are mandatory, you need to specify all the parameters as a part of your consumption in your CDS view. So, and one more point that we had seen on that day, if a CDS view has got an optional parameters, right? So, if I am consuming that CDS view with optional parameters in another CDS view, that optional thing does not apply for that CDS view, right? It has no impact in that CDS view when it is used in another CDS view. But it's opposite of that concept when you are consuming the same in ABAP OpenSQL. What do I mean is, suppose now if I go there and make this as commented, and if I uncomment this part, as in I make it as optional parameter, and I activate the same, and now if I go here, let it get activated. See here, now the error did not come. Can you see? The error went away. So what I mean to say is that the annotation @environment.system field will have impact in only OpenSQL. And as we saw in the last class, when you use the same CDS view in another CDS view, that annotation will be ignored and the parameter still remains mandatory. So the optional parameter comes into impact only when you use the same in your ABAP OpenSQL, not in your CDS view. If you are consuming that same CDS view in another CDS view, it will be overridden and you have to apply the value. So you need to make a note of this point, that whenever you are consuming a CDS view, first have a check in that CDS view whether it has any optional parameters or not, so that you can accordingly decide that what actions you need to take when you are consuming it in a CDS view again, or if you are consuming the same in an ABAP OpenSQL. So this is the two important points. If no optional parameter is there, then you will get this error that the parameter was not bound, and when optional parameters is there, there will be no error for the same. Is it clear? This is a very vital point when you are consuming a CDS view in ABAP OpenSQL code. Is this point clear, guys? Like if optional parameter is there, if the optional parameter is not there. Okay. So now let's move forward to your understanding AMDP functions. So on the last class we saw how to consume AMDP methods and how do we define AMDP methods and all, right? Now, as you have AMDP methods, similarly we have AMDP functions as well. So, just to say you in a one line, what do you mean by AMDP functions is that those are similarly like, you can say they are functional methods of your global classes which define the function stored and they will be executed on the database. So, one general question to you. In case of AMDP methods, what were getting deployed implicitly by default in the system? What was getting deployed in the system when you were creating an AMDP method? What was the term that I was using? Any idea? Stored procedure, yes. Yes, stored procedure. Now, in terms of AMDP functions, it will not create a stored procedure because if you see here, this is my ABAP program. Just focus on this diagram. This is my ABAP program. When I call this method, and this method is a part of the global ABAP class container, which is having that marker if underscore AMDP underscore marker underscore HDB, and this method is a stored procedure method, as in by database procedure you have added that keyword by database procedure language HDB, by database procedure database and all those additions. Then it deploys the stored procedure. Now coming to your AMDP function, here also you will write the SQL script only. The language will not change. Okay, the language will not change. What is going to change is instead of by database procedure, you need to specify by database function. So if you see here, method function, by database function, and this part remains the same. For HDB language SQL script, options read only using whatever database tables or views or whatever it is. Okay. Only difference comes, instead of your database procedure, you need to specify by database function. So basically they make use of this addition by database function on the method statement in your AMDP classes instead of DB procedure. And a very vital difference is that unlike your AMDP procedure implementations, AMDP function implementations does not have an exporting or changing parameter. Please mark this statement. Okay, AMDP functions don't have exporting and changing parameter. AMDP functions don't have exporting or changing parameter. Please remember this. They only have returning parameter. See, okay, now tell me, was returning parameter applicable for AMDP methods? Yes or no? Was returning parameter applicable for AMDP methods? Yes or no? So Naren says no. What about others? No, right? Now it becomes the reverse in your AMDP function. Since they don't have exporting or changing parameter, here what is applicable is your returning parameter. Here what is applicable is your returning parameter. So they have exactly one tabular returning parameter, not multiple. Remember, exactly one tabular returning parameter, not multiple, because in the other AMDP that we understood as a part of your AMDP methods, we can return multiple result sets. But here in your AMDP functions, you can have only one tabular return parameter. And one more very important point is that this, okay, you can call an AMDP class method in your ABAP program, right? Yes or no? AMDP class method can be called in an ABAP program, right? There is no restriction for the same, right? Yes or no? Similarly, can we call an AMDP function directly in my ABAP program? Yes or no? Any guesses? Any guesses? Stephanie says yes. Naren says no. What about others? Aldo says yes. Others? Any guesses? So let me give you the correct answer, and you will be shocked to know that you cannot call, and as like Chandra and Naren told, you cannot call an AMDP function in your ABAP code directly. There is a big restriction. You cannot consume AMDP function in ABAP code directly. So Chandra and Naren, did you guess or did you told like you knew about it? Chandra, guess or you knew it? It's glad to see Aldo surprised. Naren guessed it. What about Chandra? So Chandra knew about it, okay. Yes, so please note of these two important restrictions, okay. So, very big restriction is that AMDP function don't have exporting or changing parameter. It has only returning table parameter, and it is only one which you can return. And the second big important restriction is that you cannot consume an AMDP function in your ABAP code directly. So, in the script of a database function that you are seeing, this is my data. We'll see a scenario. First, let us understand the concept. So, in the script of my database function, as in the SQL script, the statement return is mandatory, which defines the values of the return parameter. The statement return is mandatory, which defines the values of the return parameter. So, this keyword return and whatever you want to pass, this is mandatory. So, AMDP functions are basically the functional methods of the global classes, as I told, which define the functions which are stored and executed on the database, as in the same lines when we say for AMDP method, the stored procedures are deployed and are executed. So, now because of this restriction, and one more important point, this AMDP functions and all came into picture from your release 7.50, okay, from your ABAP NetWeaver release 7.50. Prior to this, it was not there. No, Stephanie, the method function is not private. I'm just, let me complete. Don't, it's not that it's a private method function or something. So, one important point that I'm telling is, if you're in your systems, kindly check if you are in release 7.5 or not. Because this AMDP framework started supporting AMDP functions from your 7.5 only. Okay. Now, coming to the main point, that because of this restriction that you cannot consume an AMDP function in your ABAP code directly, hence the introduction of your ABAP CDS table functions came into picture. So as to make use of these AMDP functions available as a data sources of your select statement. So now try to understand this picture very carefully. So if you see here, this is my ABAP program, right? So now let's go from the bottom to top. I told that AMDP function will be a part of your global class. Yes or no? Yes, right? Now this AMDP function will have implement a method which will be by database function, and this will be stored and executed in your database, right? Now you cannot consume this directly here. So something has to come here to save your life, because how I am going to call it. So I need some assistant to call it. Now my assistant is my CDS table function. So I plug in this assistant here. This assistant now is able to call my database function, as in my AMDP function. So this CDS table function, so where will it lie? Any guesses? The CDS table function will also lie in my DDL source only, because this is also as a part of your CDS framework. So now this DDL source will contain the CDS table function. And now, since I am able to consume the CDS in my ABAP OpenSQL code, similarly I'll be able to consume the CDS table function also. So ABAP program calls the CDS table function as in the select from this indirectly calls this, and you get the data into this. Is this architecture very much clear, guys? This architecture? Any doubt up to this point? please make a please understand this point is very important, like restrictions, because you should not always think that I can use anything or the anywhere. Until unless you are aware about the restrictions, this ABAP on HANA code has got a lot of restrictions. Yes, Stephanie, after we understand this, we will see a real-time example. And just to make Kiran happy, I have again introduced some new SQL script code. I'll show you the scenarios now. So, as I had already told you, the definition of the CDS table function will refer to an existing AMDP function by the addition implemented by. I'll show you how to use the statement and all, okay? So, as I was telling, just give me a minute. So, CDS table function will be defined in your DDL source, right? And in your DDL source, you will see that we define it via using the keyword define table function. And so, AMDP method that will implement your CDS table function is defined without parameters. Okay. So, instead for table function is used, and I'll show you how do we use that table function and the implemented by and all. So, let's move to a real-time example. As in, like, we'll create a CDS table function and we will understand how to create the same. So, first step, we'll create a CDS table function, AMDP function, we'll link everything and we'll see. So, CDS table function will also be under your DDL source. So, again go to your data definition. Next. So, Z demo. Table function run. By the way, this description and name what I give, do not follow the nomenclature like this. Follow the nomenclature what has been given by SAP. I am just showing you for demo purpose. Yes, Aldo, yes. Now, it will be very much clear with you with this example that I will be showing you. How I am going to create and as in how. So here when you select the template, you need to be very careful. I want to create a table function, okay. So here by default, it has got table function with parameters only. So you have to select this template. Now, as I told you that when you are trying to create a table function with parameters, this parameters is optional. This is not mandatory. So I'll not give this here for the time being. I'll remove this parameters because I just want to show. And one important point is that this client is mandatory. As a part of your return, this client is mandatory. As a part of your return, this client is mandatory, okay? You cannot ignore the same. This client is mandatory. So you have to specify this client. You cannot ignore the same. Please make this a point. Now, let's go to the other what elements I want to do. So what my requirement is, I'll just simply tell you an overview. What I'm trying to do is, I'll try to get the current date, 90 days minus the current date and 90 days plus the current date. Okay. So suppose just the date analysis, the current date today, 90 days minus the current date and 90 days plus the current date. And also I'll introduce to you some of the native HANA SQL script concepts with that. So this field I'm going to specify as client. Okay, this is ABAP.client. Now here I'm going to specify as the date type. Now ABAP.car. This content assist, as I told you, will be applicable only for your CDS and modern ABAP SQL and all those things. It will not be applicable for your SQL script codes. Only for your SQL script codes it will not be applicable. So now date type and the date value I'll specify. So date value I'll specify as ABAP dot dates, as in the date type. Okay. Now I have given this. Now close this with semicolon. Now here it has told that it has to be implemented by a class name and method, right? You are getting a warning, right? So just give a demo class name and a method which you want to implement. Example, ZCL underscore AMDP table function, because I am going to consume this AMDP via this table function. Okay, and the method is get date data. Now I told you a statement that implemented by method is mandatory here. Okay, so as part of your first step, I create in the DDL source, I go to my DDL source, I create the CDS table function. Now while creating the CDS table function, you need to select the template defined table function with parameters. With parameters is optional. You can, if you want, you can specify. If you don't want, you no need to specify. So here in the returns, I told you it will return you only one tabular returning parameter. Okay. Now the next important point is implemented by method. So if you see this flow again, this table function has to call this AMDP function, right? So this table function has to call this, right? So how will it call this? So to make it understand, this is the keyword. This table function is implemented by the method, and you have to provide a class and a method name. And also if you see here, one important point, can I make this as a static or this will be an instance? Just any guesses? This will be an instance or this will be a static method? Any guesses for the AMDP function? Any guesses, static or instance? Not an issue even if you give me the wrong answer. Guesses please. So all saying static. It cannot be instance. It will be static only. Why? How do you think so? Any clues that you got by seeing the syntax? Yes, Pranay, right. If you see by default the syntax which it came with the help of this operator. Okay. So for the AMDP functions, as a part of your AMDP class, those can be only implemented as static only, which is not applicable for your AMDP methods, as that can be static or those can be instance. Okay. Now try to activate this. So this got activated, right? So the first step that I did was I created a CDS table function as a part of your DDL source. I used the template defined table function with parameters. The with parameters was optional, and in that return value, you should never forget this client field up to these 3 points. Then after this implemented by method, give the class name and the method that you want to give. Okay. Up to this part was your first step. Okay. Now going to the second step, that I have to create this class which I gave. New ABAP class. Let's provide the same class ZCL underscore AMDP underscore table function and AMDP demo. Now finish. So what will be our next step is that we will create the AMDP class with this AMDP function. Okay, and we'll specify the public static method which I gave, and there will be an addition here for table function. Now one question to you all: in this AMDP function, do I need to specify that interface if underscore AMDP underscore marker underscore HDB? Yes or no? Answers please. Aldo says yes. What about others? See, these two are the last 2 weeks, last week of your class. So let's make it much more interactive. I want answers from you all. Yes, yes. Because I already told you it will have almost all of your features of your AMDP methods, right? So interface is mandatory here. Otherwise, how will it understand that it's an AMDP function? which is specific only for your SQL script and database specific. So interfaces, see here code assist will come because this is not part of your SQL script. If underscore AMDP underscore marker underscore HDB. Okay. Now, as I told you, specify the static class methods. What was the method name that I gave here? Get date data. Get date data. You need to add an addition here for excuse me, for table function, okay, and specify the name of the activated table function. Specify the same here and full stop. Okay, now you will get a error that this implementation is missing. Obviously, the implementation will be missing. Method get date data. Now tell me here, what do I need to specify here? By database method or by database function? It will be by database function, right? So by database function for HDB language SQL script, options, read only, and end method. That's it. Now similarly, like how the body of an AMDP method cannot be empty, here also the body cannot be empty. So now let me show you what will I do today. So my first field was client, right? So select 800 as your whatever one important point. Now the second step is done. First let me recall you the steps that I did till now. Now as part of the next step what I did, I created the AMDP class and specified the public static method. I used the interface if AMDP marker HDB, and now my code implementation starts for the method. Okay. Now, a very important point is that whatever names you have specified for this returning table type parameters, these names and what you are going to return here, both has to be same. Okay. Now, if you tell me one thing, before select, I did not specify return. Is it right or is it wrong? Is it right or is it wrong? I haven't specified return. Is it right or is it wrong? Answers, please. Satish says wrong. What about the others? Aditya says wrong. Right. Yes, I am wrong. Because my first statement has to start with return. Now, one mark my words. It is always not going to be the first statement. Whenever I have done with all my coding and ultimately I have to pass the result back. So at that stage, you have to specify this keyword return and the data that you want to pass. So return, select 800 as client, comma, now see, this can be caps or in small, it doesn't matter. Client, today, as date type, okay, and there is a function now I'm going to use now. See very carefully. First of all, there is a keyword called now. Okay, this now gives you the current timestamp. Now, out of this current timestamp, as in the date and the time, I just need first the time, the date only. Okay, and also the date in a particular format, right? Now, this date value ABAP.dates is in YYYYMMDD format, right? So what will I do, how will I handle the requirement is, I use a function called toVarChar. This toVarChar converts this into varchar type and also you can specify a format here. So now, comma, the format I'll specify YYYYMMDD because apart from this format, it will not understand this. Now, I have specified the format. Now what I'll do as date value, okay, from DUMMY. Just see what I am doing. DUMMY. Union all. I'll again copy the same. I need 90 days minus and 90 days plus. So select 800 as client. 90 days before today as the date type, char var char. Now 90 days before today, this is my current timestamp. I have to make it 90 days before today. So there is a function again you use add days. Okay. Now add days 90 days now, and to this you specify minus 90. So two varchar, your first is like whatever that is the value that you want to pass. So now was the current timestamp out of which I wanted MMDD. Now for this I want 90 days prior to now. So add days now minus 90 as date value from dummy. Now after this again union all, and now copy paste from this part. Come here, specify the 90 days after today and remove this minus here as date value from dummy, and here at the end of this you need to specify a semicolon. Now it will give you a warning that the public synonym cannot be used without an explicitly specified schema. The synonym dummy was used here without the name. I have to specify schema here. So for that, public schema dot dummy. Similarly here, public schema dot dummy. Similarly here, public schema dot dummy. Schema name dot system table name. Now first let me show you the output, and then we will come to the discussion of this code what I have written here. Okay. Now I'll try to activate the same. Oh, this got locked. Give me a minute, guys. Okay, fine. So let me try to activate the same now. So this got activated, right? So now let me first show you the output. See here, today 3rd October 2020, 90 days before today, 5/7/2020, and 90 days after today, 1/1/2021. So since it is getting truncated, what do? You make it 18 here. I'll call this. Yeah, fine. So what I did, I called this AMDP class method implemented by this. So in this I'm getting the client date type and the date value, and here I'm passing this data. Now guys, tell me how many of you did not understand this code at all? How many of you did not understand this code at all? Let me know at least who knows about this dummy and all. Yeah, the client will not show up, no? Yes, Stephanie, I'll explain you. So first of all, tell me how many of you didn't understand any piece of this code? Okay. Okay, Anuja. Okay, now let me break it up for 1 minute. So first question that you all asked me is like, why will the client not show up? See, what did I say you? This client is mandatory when you are passing it as a returning parameter. Okay. Now question to you, first question to, okay, and I knew it that you will be telling me this only, that you will not understand. That's why I made this query to make you all understand this complex type. Like how can you, so one question to first to Kiran. Kiran, now are you getting the feeling of how powerful HANA is and what all things are there in HANA? Kiran, can you please answer? Okay, wait, let me unmute yourself. We'll have a healthy discussion. Kiran,
Yeah, sir.
are you there?
Yes.
Can you see how powerful HANA is, what I have done from here? And
Yeah.
don't you think is it completely different to your ABAP?
Yeah, it is. It's SQL, right? Not the ABAP part.
Yeah,
What
this is the true power of HANA. Yeah, those I will come one by one. I'll answer one by one to everyone. I'll answer everyone one by one because that is I just wanted to understand from you, wanted to know how different is SQL script completely from your ABAP OpenSQL.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, fine. Now, second question which someone asked me, client, tell me one thing, when we execute a database records from SE16N or something, do you see that client? And even while executing your CDS table functions and all, do you, sorry, not CDS table function. When we were executing CDS, do you see client? Do you see client? Yes or no? No, right, Vinayak? So the person who asked me the same question, that why I am not seeing the client, that's the answer for you. Why will you see the client here? See, as a part of the syntax, you have to pass client because, see, example, if I don't pass client, no, I'll show you. Here, I cannot just comment this part of code. I'll just try to comment this. See here, client specific. By default, it becomes as client specific. I cannot go and change it because while creating only data is pass anything as client specific. Now the CDS has got this table function. This is the mandatory thing that I cannot ignore. This client I cannot ignore here. Now since I cannot ignore here, now if this part, if you just don't give example 800 as client, I'll just remove this. Okay. See, first error it will be like there you are giving column, but here there are 3 columns, here there are 2 columns. I told you, right, how many, whatever is the tabular parameter, the number of columns that you need to pass, same thing you need to pass here as well. So if you don't give, it will throw an error here. So now, second doubt, that first doubt is clear, right? This question who asked me, why client? Okay. Now coming to the next point.
Okay.
Let me first.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so in table function, if you don't specify client or if we don't want to specify client, in that case we can use one annotation called as client independent. I mean, I have just read it somewhere on Google.
That client handling, right? What we used. The annotation.
Yeah, client dependent, client independent. Yeah. Yes.
That's what I'm not. What I want to make you understand is that as a part of your returning parameter, as a part of your the framework which SAP is provided, you cannot skip this. That's what I'm trying to say. You cannot skip this as a part of your CDS table function framework, as a part of the SAP standard recommendation. They, as a part of their framework, you cannot skip this client. Otherwise, we could have done that. Got the point?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we'll come to the second point now. Now coming to the question that you are asking me, dummy. This dummy is a system table and it has got exactly 1 row of record. Okay. Dummy is not your DDIC table or dummy is not your normal database table. Please mark my words. Dummy is not a DDIC table. Neither dummy is a normal database table. It's a system table. In HANA, in a lot of your SQL queries, we do use this dummy to get this date and all, as in whatever data you need from with respect to your system. It's a system table and it exactly contains one row only. Dummy is a system table and it exactly contains one row only. And we can use the same to perform this kind of functionality, as in when you need the current timestamp and all this system data, you can use dummy to fetch these. Does that answer your second question? What about dummy? Why did I use dummy? Tell me.
Yeah, it's good.
Now, moving forward to the next statement, this now is clear to everyone, right? This now gives the current timestamp. See, actually I don't have a HANA database system here. Otherwise, I could have broken it up to one by one and I'd have showed you. So this now, if anybody of you have got a HANA DB system access, just write this one line of query, select now this bracket from this dummy, from public.dummy. Just write this. I am not having dynamic fields of any type. This I am just doing an alias and converting it to a particular format. Who was asking me? Ankit, did you get the point what I am trying to do here? I am not trying to specify dynamic fields of any type with regards to the functionality that I wanted here, the date and the current date and all with regards to the timestamp. Why I use this functionality, I am coming to this point. Just wait for some time. So this now gives the current timestamp. Okay. Now, of this current timestamp, now first of all understand here I have to pass the date value which is an ABAP.dates format, right? MMDD. I cannot directly pass this now to there. This timestamp, can you pass a timestamp to MMDD format? No, right? Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Can you pass a timestamp to your date format? No, right? Now, that is the reason I have to do something to convert this timestamp, basically not the timestamp, only the date of this timestamp to convert to this format, okay? So, this now is my timestamp. What does this toVarchar do is, in this toVarchar, it converts this particular expression to varchar type, okay? And if you specify a date format here, it will convert this to that particular date format. So this understands MMDD format, and I have to make this understand in this MMDD so that this can be consumed in this. So now that is the reason I use toVarchar and I specified this now and MMDD as date value from this. Now for this, what I have to do, I have to pass 90 days minus and 90 days plus. So add days now minus 90 I did and add days now plus 90 I did. So this part only. toVarchar is used for converting this into this format along with the format that I specified, and add days to add the days, either plus or minus. Now did you all get my point? Why did I use toVarchar and now? Now is the query, Stephanie, now is it clear? Why I use dummy? Why I use this? See, other approach I'll tell you. What could be the other approach I'll tell you? You have to declare a table here and pass these two, date and date type, and inside that you have to pass both these values and all. So instead of that, I did not do all those things. I directly did from dummy. And since dummy is a system variable, you don't have to use the same as a part of your using. Did you see one more difference? I am not using dummy as a part of me using, if you see here clearly. Otherwise, if you would have used a DDIC or a database table, it would have clearly specified that it needs to be added as a part of your using. If you are using a system table, you don't need to use the same. Now I'll recall all the steps that I did. First, you create a DDL source. Use those particular template as I told you. Optional parameters are mandatory. And after implemented by, you need to specify a class name and a method. Okay. activate this class name, activate this DDL source as in the CDS table function. Now create your AMDP class with this AMDP function. Do not forget to implement the interface if AMDP marker HDB. You need to specify a public static method only, which will be implemented as a database function. Then activate this class and this AMDP function. Then here one more important point is that as a part of your static method, here you need to add this for table function, then the table function CDS table function name. And after you have activated both these things, then you can, if you want, I just showed you here, you can use this thing in your ABAP OpenSQL because you can consume your CDS. Similarly, in the same way, you can consume your CDS table function. The important thing that you need to remember is, while developing your CDS table function, it is important that you should do it in this right order. Otherwise, you will have issues in activation of your table function in your AMDP. You should not neglect this order, okay? Because the reason is that for this table function, you need the activated CDS table function when you are doing this addition. If this is not activated, it will always keep on throwing the syntax errors. So that is the reason for table function, you need to specify the CDS table function which should be activated. And without creating this class and method, this ABAP syntax text as a part of the CDS table function framework, it accepts it and it will activate the code. So once you have finished implementing both the AMDP function, then you can test this and you can use the same. So you are telling session underscore context client, right? Yeah, I can use the same. See, session underscore context, and here I'll specify your. Yeah, I just showed 800 because I knew the value. Otherwise, if you want, you can pass anything. It's about how you get the value. That's it. Did you get the point, Aldo? I can use anything here. Okay, now coming to the next important point that we did this. Why did I show you all this CDS table function and AMDP function when we already have AMDP methods and normal CDS? Guys, any answer? Guys, any answer? Why are we doing all this? Any answer, guys? Anybody, can you answer me? So Kiran says SQL script. So Kiran, for you, can you tell me one thing? Okay. My question is, when we already have AMDP methods, which we can easily able to consume in your ABAP code, then why this drama of creating a CDS table function, then using AMDP function and all these things? Why this? Why? Why are we doing it? So one answer you are telling, can't use SQL script in CDS. Second thing you are telling, to enhance ABAP CDS. Some functions are not possible in AMDP methods. Okay. Before I come to the answer of this question, one important point that I want to tell you is that, what did I tell you? As a part of your ABAP system 7.50, then only you will be able to get the CDS table function, right? By mistake, if you are trying to create a CDS table function and in your system if you are calling the same, and if your system has got certain system limitations, then a runtime error will occur, CXSY SQL unsupported feature. This runtime dump will come. If your system doesn't support your CDS table functions and all. So I'll also show you how do we handle this if you get a dump like this, that CDS SQL AMDP function, if it doesn't support, okay. If it doesn't support, how do we handle this dump? Basically, there are certain system capabilities features which will help you to handle this dump. So let me create a report. So ABAP program. Report to consume table function. Now let me click on finish. Now, so if I want to consume the same, what will I do? Select from, let me activate the same. So this is my table function, right? So select from, do a control space and do a shift and assist. So since there is nothing to pass, I'll likely do this, select from demo table function into @data lt underscore result, right? Sorry. I forgot one thing. Yeah. So CL demo output display now exporting data as lt underscore result and name as previous table function output. Okay. Select table function. Select from, yes, I have forgot to give into table @data because I'm getting a tabular parameter data. Fine. Control F3. Yes, because I was getting tabular parameter data, so I have to specify into table @data, and now Control F3. Now, one thing what I need to introduce here is that how there is a certain piece of code which will try to avoid the dumps in your system in case if you get a dump. So dt gt feature set type. There is a class called cl underscore abap underscore db features. DB features, and here features set t. So I'll get the data here. Okay. Now what I'll do, insert cl underscore abap underscore db features. Here I am trying to use AMDB table functions, right? Which is value 6. So I'll give AMDB table functions into table, what I specified here as GT feature set, GT underscore feature underscore set. Okay. Once I specify this thing, what will I do? I'll data LV underscore flag equals to, I'll try to get the data cl underscore abap underscore db features. Then there is a method called use features. And here in this use features, I don't need the connections. And in this request features, you pass this GT underscore feature underscore set. Okay. GT underscore feature underscore set. Catch exception I don't need. So I got the value here. Now, if this flag value is true, as in this AMDP feature is supported, LB flag is equals to ABAP underscore true. Then you call this as if and otherwise you write your alternate logic. Now let me show you what I did from here. So basically this piece of code, that is this line to this piece of code, basically is giving you the part of your system capability check. In case if there is certain system limitation and if your system doesn't support your CDS table functions and all, then you can apply your alternate logic so as to avoid dumps. So what this will do is that I'll just put a breakpoint here and execute this piece of code. Now let me do this F5 here. Now see the flag value. Okay, this flag value becomes true. ABAP this becomes true. Why? Because this GT feature set as a part of the AMDP feature, the value came 6. Okay, because the value of this constant is 6. Okay, so this value got 6 for AMDP features. Now when you are passing this 6 value, it checks whether this AMDP feature is supported as a part of your database system or not. So since this became true, so if LB flag is equals to ABAP true, now you pass the value, I get the value into my LT result. LT result I get the value. If it would have thrown a dump that this database support feature is not supported, then you can handle your alternate code here as part of your system restrictions and do a F8 to show the output. That's it. So this piece of code will come in handy with respect to your check. See, normally if you are already on a HANA database and you are on an upgraded version with NetWeaver 7.5 and onwards, then there is no issue because you are. But if a beginner who is not aware about the system architecture and all, and he doesn't know whether it is supported or not, just to be on the safe side, it is better to have this piece of code in your programs so that even if your system doesn't have any system restrictions and all, and it doesn't support your system with respect to the capability check, then you can avoid dumps. Yeah, Aldo, I put it, fields and all. This you are talking about, right, Aldo? Fields and into table, right? Yeah. Now, okay, first, before we move forward to the question that I asked, and it's basically related to your select options. Now, this point is clear, right? This piece of code, there is no doubt in this, right? Why I did this? Just to avoid your dump and the system capability check. Up to this part, is it clear to everyone, guys? Okay, now the question that I had asked, that why CDS table functions and all these CDS table function and AMDP function and all came into picture. So now you people gave me different answers, right? Now, before I proceed, let me ask you one more question. Can we directly use select options in CDS view? Like, can we use in parameters? Yes or no? let's start linking the question and the answers. Can we directly consume select options, like how we have series with parameters? Can we directly pass select options? Pranay says yes, Aldo says yes, Satish says yes. Others, please answer, please answer. Please answer. Chandra, you said yes, Chandra, you said no. What is this, Chandra? This is bad. So, Chandra, you said no. I was just joking. You didn't mind, right? Okay. So, yes, the answer is no. You cannot directly consume CDS view like you can use in parameters. And the answer is select options is not a SQL feature. It's not a SQL feature at all. It's not a SQL feature. It's an ABAP or an open SQL feature which SQL script does not understand, right? So, if you are thinking to push the select option, this range variable directly to the database layer, it's not at all possible. Now, to handle this type of requirements, what you can do is, you cannot pass a select options query, right? So, how do you implement the same is that, since you cannot implement your select options as in you cannot pass it, suppose there is a complex requirement and the user is also telling that they want select options only, they want multiple filter values and all. How do you handle, and you want to put this logic to your ABAP on HANA? So, since SQL can understand only the filtering logic as in as a where clause, right? So, even if you see when we are passing series with input parameters, as a part of the where clause, it is basically used for filtering the data. But in the select options, you cannot have the static values or the dynamic values here. So, the only thing that you can do is convert this select options into a string. Convert this select options into a where clause string. Pass that where clause as a part of your CDS table function importing parameter. As a part of your CDS table function importing parameter. Once you have passed the same, then you can make use of your AMDP functions to write your entire logic to get the data back, and in this way you will be able to achieve the requirement of your how do we consume a select options in your CDS view. So what you have to do first is, you have to convert your select options into a dynamic where clause. So for converting the same into a dynamic where clause, there is a class which is there called CL_HDB_cell_tab. So first point is that you have to convert your select options into a dynamic where clause. So for the dynamic where clause, there are a lot of ways to convert that into a dynamic where clause, but most preferable is you by making use of the class, so that let standard SAP only do everything. So CL_SHDB_cell_tab, this is the class, and use the static method combine cell tabs. Use the static method combine cell tabs. Use the class CL_SHDB_cell_tab and combine cell tabs. What this will do is, this will give you a dynamic where clause as a part of your string format, right? Now, in this string format of yours, you pass the string format as a part of your optional input parameters to your CDS table function. Okay? Now, second step will be to pass this where clause string to your CDS table function. Okay? Now that you have passed this where clause to your CDS table function as your importing parameter, as importing parameter. Now that you have passed this where clause, obviously you will be implementing the CDS table function by making use of an AMDP function, right? As a part of the design that I told you. Now, in your AMDP function, you need to make use of this the string where clause. So there is a concept called apply underscore filter there. So apply filter, here it can be a database table or view or the local variable which we declare as LT internal table or whatever it is. For the local variable, the syntax will be colon. We have already discussed this. If you are anything with respect to your local variable you are using or any parameters you are passing, you need to make use of colon, comma, then this whatever inputting parameter that you have passed. So whatever parameter name you have given and whatever you are passing the same to your AMDP function, you need to specify the same here. So suppose you had passed the inputting parameters IMP underscore parameter. So IMP underscore, IMP underscore parameter. This apply filter will filter the data with respect to your select options, and after that, how you write your logic as a part of your SQL script, you need to write the logic as a part of your SQL script and return the same, and in this way you can implement your select options as a part of your CDS view. Apply filter, this concept you can use as a part of your CDS table function also, Aldo, yes. And the same concept you can use as a part of your AMDP methods also. Both are common. Whether you use the same as a part of your AMDP methods or whether you use the same as a part of your AMDP functions, both are common. Now, coming to the exact use of this is that, though the concept applies, I'll show you tomorrow how to apply the same in AMDP methods as well. Though the concept applies, remains the same for both as well. Now the use case that you can think of is that, suppose, example, this is your table function, right? So you have got certain input parameters and you need to get the data from this table function, okay? And from this table function also you want to call this table function in your, you want to call this table function in another CDS view, wherein that CDS is calling a multiple other CDS. So suppose this table function you are consuming in a CDS, and as a part of your data modeling you are calling some 3-4 standard CDS views as well. Now you need to get the data from this CDS table function on the basis of your select options, the whatever user restriction you have put, right? So this table function will help you to restrict the data. Now the data that you get from this on a top of your CDS that you are using, you will get to restrict the data, again filter out the data and model the data with other CDS views and ultimately get the data. So this is how your table function will ultimately come into picture if you are using the concept with the CDS table function along with other CDS, and you also want to integrate with your select options and all. Now did you get the point? How come your CDS table functions will come into picture? Guys, did you get the point? Stephanie, now is it clear? Kiran, you are asking me this question. Now is it clear? Sushil?
Yes.
Okay. So why I am made you understand these 3 points, because there will be no homework assignment for this week because this is the last week. So the assignment that I'll give you today, as in what you need to complete by today and submit by tomorrow, like if you can complete it. Otherwise, if you are occupied, you can even do it later on also. But better it will be if you can do it. Where in the assignment you have to apply this concept only. This concept only to get the data. Okay. Can we have 2 minutes break? I understood. You people got messed up with so many SQL script, AMDP function, CDS table function, SQL script code and all, right? Yeah, I'll do, right? There are so many tools. Yeah, Sushil, I can understand. Let's have a 2 minutes break. Should we resume back? Okay. So now we'll see how to expose a CDS view as an OData, as in how to create a gateway service via CDS view with just one annotation. Okay. So prior to I proceed, can any one of you give me your CDS view, your any of your basic CDS view which you created on the day 6? Can any of you give me your basic CDS view which you created on your day 6? There, guys, are you there? Okay, great. Danny gave me. Thanks, Danny. Okay, now let me just execute. Fine. So this is the data. Okay. So just from demo perspective, I am showing. Suppose this is your CDS view and this is your final CDS view, which you want to send it as an OData service to be consumption by any other team or to be consumed by any other team within SAP or outside SAP. Suppose this is the requirement. Okay. So earlier for OData services, we used to go to SCGW, write the code, build an OData service and all, and either map RFC function model and all those things. But with respect to CDS, if I want to expose the CDS view as an OData service, the first step that I need to do is that I simply just need to add an annotation. I just simply need to add an annotation at the rate OData dot publish true First you do this, you do Control and S, then you do Control and F2, and second part you activate your CDS view. Now that you activate your CDS view, you will get a warning here. If you carefully look at this, so you will get a warning here that this CDS is not active. Okay, now just a second. Now what you need to do is you need to go to your backend system. You need to go to your backend system, enter the T code /n/iwfnd/ment_services. Now inside this, click on this add service. System alias will be local. Why? Because this is my embedded gateway system, wherein my front-end service and my back-end service are on the same system. Now in the CDS view, v4a_CDS. There is some issue with his service. There is some issue with your service. We'll take the other one. ZCDS_assignment. Okay. So at the rate publish okay, Control and F3. So set CDS_assignment. ZCDS_assignment_CDS. Yeah. So Mirko, not Mirko. We took whose service? I think Aldo service we took for whose? Danny, I think there is some issue with your service, or you would have tried to publish it as earlier. I think. We need to check that. But the first step is @oriented.publish to it will give you a warning here. Okay, you need to avoid this warning that it will say that the service jet CDS_assignment_CDS, as in your CDS view name _CDS will be your OData service. CDS view name _CDS will be your OData service, and it will say that your service is not active. So /n IWFND maintain service, you go. Click on add service, provide the system alias is local. In case if it is your backend server and front-end server both are on the same system, that is your embedded gateway. If you are having a central gateway, then you need to ask your base system to understand what is the system alias with respect to your gateway servers and apply the same in your backend system here in the system alias. Now select this and click on add selected services. I'll create a local object here and I just click on yes. Now that I did this, copy paste this, go back one step, pass the technical service name as the service name that I selected, CDS view name underscore CDS, load the metadata once. Your ICF node status should be as services active. Click on SAP Gateway Client. Now select the entity set that will show your CDS view name. Now click on execute for get. The status response should come as 200 and here see you get the entire data here. Now if I want to see the count, the number of count of data, execute it here. See the count of data is 491 records. So as I told you, first step, you need to add this annotation @odata.publish as true. This will publish your CDS view as an OData service, just adding this annotation. Second, once you add, you will get a warning. Once you activate the same, what will happen is that your service will get generated in your backend SAP business suite. So, and with the name will be CDS view name underscore CDS. Then the third step that you need to do is, you need to go to the T code /IWFND maintain service, and you need to go and add your service. That will be the first step, and then you can test your service and you can check that you are getting your entire data here in this way. So these three steps will help you to expose your CDS view as an OData. Is this point clear, guys? What you need to do if you want to expose your CDS as an OData service, if you get a requirement that you want to build your data model by using a CDS view, and you want to expose your CDS as an OData service, and you want to give that OData URL to anyone who wants to consume your data, just add this annotation and then create the URL and pass the same, as in this URL you can use. Go to your gateway client, entity sets, entity sets here, and use this URL here, the ID which you are able to see here. Use this URL here, the ID which you are able to see. You will be able to get your data. Just provide this URL to your end users. They will be able to get the data from your OData service. So just these three steps will help you to expose your CDS view as an OData service. Now the next topic is you're very important. You get a requirement. Naren, just to tell you in brief, OData is your open data protocol. See, earlier what used to happen is whenever SAP systems used to interact with the other systems, we used to create a lot of web application services and all, so as to interact with different applications. Like we used to create web services, or we used to pass the data via different approaches were there. So we used to create different services for different applications. Now with OData coming into picture, there will be a single service which will help to interact with multiple service consumers. So whether if it needs to be consumed by a mobile, or whether it needs to be consumed by a web application, whether it needs to be consumed in query Wi-Fi, whether it needs to be consumed by a non-SAP application. So a single open data protocol OData service will help you to expose your data from your SAP to your any other things. No, it will not replace things like IDOC. IDOC in its own place if data is coming from IDOC. But now in most of your requirements, you are required to create a CDS view to fetch, sorry, not your CDS view. You are required to create OData service to fetch your data, as in to bind your backend system data to your service consumers. Example, if you want to create a query application, okay, A Fieri application will need an OData service to get the data from the backend or to communicate with the backend system. So there OData service comes into picture more of use. Is it clear, Naren? It's basically a interaction between your SAP or a non-SAP system to your SAP system with respect to the data that you want to pass. Yeah, right, like web services. And one more thing, see, now if I change here, see, can you see here? If you just put your cursor here, see, your generated OData service and everything will come into picture. Generated OData service, see, all got generated. Okay, now coming to your extension of your CDS views. Okay, so guys, tell me, can we extend the CDS view in the same concept like we extend the transparent tables? Yes or no? Okay, Naren said should be. What about the others? What about the others? Kiran says no idea. Others? Any guesses? So Stephanie, I am saying, can we extend a CDS view as in the standard one? Because there is no point in extending a Z1. Okay. So can we extend a standard CDS view similarly like we extend the transparent tables? Yeah, so extension of CDS view works very similarly to like extension of transparent tables. It's just that CDS views extensions are defined in your dedicated DBS sources via the DBS statement extend view. There is a statement called extend view which will help you to extend your CDS views. So what happens is that if you see this diagram properly, this is your software provider, suppose SAP, okay. They have given your CDS view, right? So CDS view, as we have discussed right in the very basic beginning, that with respect to your CDS view, SQL view will get generated, okay. So now the SQL view will be the representation of your database object, right? Now, when you are extending the CDS view, as I told, with extend view with this keyword, okay. Now, when you extend this CDS view, an append view gets generated. Now, this append view gets part as a added of your database object as in your SQL view. So, whenever we are appending a standard transparent tables, what we do, we add append structures, right? And we can add multiple append structures to one transparent table, right? Similarly, when you are extending your CDS view, you have to provide an append view name, and this append view name will get merged with the SQL view, which was the actual representation of your CDS view. And through this, we can get the data from our standard CDS view as well as our addition as in of our custom fields or whatever we have added via this append thing. Let me show you a scenario as in how to extend a standard CDS view. Then you will get a much more better clarity. Now, for extending the standard CDS view, I'll be taking a standard CDS view called SEPM SCDL goods receipt header. Okay. Now, first thing that you need to see whether this is extended or not. If you see here, there is nothing. Okay, there is no extension. If you are still having doubts whether this is extended or not, copy this. Or why to copy this? Directly navigate from here to this. Navigate to your SQL view. Once you navigate to your SQL view, let it open up. Now, once you navigate to your SQL view, you see that there is no append structure added to it, right? There is no append structure added to it. So that means it hasn't been appended yet. There has been no extension done to this. Now let us try to extend the standard CDS view. So I'll just copy paste the same name because I'll need the name. Now what I'll do, I'll go to local objects, right click on the same. new. Again, it's a part of your DDL repository only. So go to your data definition, click on next. Now Z extend CDS view. Extension of standard CDS view. Click on next. Click on next. Now here you need to select this extend view. Once you select this extend view template, click on finish. Now this template will come up. Now here in the extend view, there you need to provide the CDS view which you want to extend. So I told I wanted to extend the standard CDS view, right? Now here I need to specify the elements that I want to add. So if I want to add from the standard, whatever all the elements that I'm getting, if I want to add from there, suppose I want to add, let me see, I know that company name is not there. I saw it now that company name was not there. So I'll try to add this company name first. As company name. Second, let me see, apart from company name, this confirmation status was also not there. So purchase order dot confirmation status as confirmation status. Okay. Now once that you have provided whatever fields names you want to extend, as in you need to add to this while fetching the data from the CDS view, now you will get an error that you need to provide an append name. As I told you that you need to provide an append name. So let us provide an append name. ZV append GRN. Okay. Now the error is gone. Now let us try to activate the same. It will take some time. So now your extend CDS view got activated. Okay. Now go back here and do a refresh F5. Now can you see a symbol coming up? Right? This symbol, if you find in any of your standard CDS views, or even if you are in your Z1s also, you can extend. Suppose there is a requirement that Stephanie created a CDS view which has got suppose blah 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 blah, suppose 10 fields. Okay. Now Aldo needs to create one more CDS view, but he does not want to touch that standard CDS view. The Z CDS view of Stephanie. He wants to add 3 more fields. So he thinks that no, I'll not going to touch that CDS view of Stephanie. I'll extend that and add 2 more fields. Now Chandra wants to add 3 more fields to Stephanie's CDS view, but he has got his separate fields. What he will do? He will create one more extension of that Stephanie's CDS view, and he can add 3 more fields. So if you open Stephanie's CDS view now, like I have opened now here, instead of one extension, you will find multiple extensions as well. Like if we append a transparent table, we can append it with multiple append structures. Similarly, we can extend this any CDS with multiple extensions. So since I have extended with one extension, now here it will show with extended with Z extend CDS view. Now if you navigate to this SQL view which is generated as a part of your standard CDS view, now can you see here the append came, and whatever field names I gave, it came. The append came. Now if I close this, and now if I want to show the data, see here, company name and the confirmation status. Can you see? Both these fields also got added. So in this way, as in the using the template extend view, so extend view, whatever CDS view name with whatever extension name you want to give. Here also, if you want, you can keep the DDL source name and the extended CDS view name same, or you can have a different name, as in the same concept that you had applied at while creating the CDS view, and mandatorily you need to specify a SQL view name. Yeah, if you want, Aldo, while fetching the data, if you fetch the data, you can anyway specify which fields you want to get, right, Aldo? Select in the ABAP Open SQL. There it will clearly show you what all fields it has. It will show you all the fields. Are you getting my point, Aldo? So, see here, suppose select from, now this is the view I gave. Now here, can you see company name confirmation status? Can you see here? Both are coming. Got the point? It will show you all the fields. So now where I was, I forgot. Oh my God. Yes, that it is mandatory that you need to provide an append view name here. Just remember this diagram. It will help you to extend your CDS view. Whatever SAP has provided, the CDS view, and you are trying to add from your customer's point of view. Okay. Yes, Stephanie, right. Append structures always come at the end of the transparent tables. Yes or no, Stephanie? It always comes at the end, right? Similarly, your extensions will also come at the end only. It cannot come at the top. It's got the point, Stephanie? Customer extensions will always come at the end. So when you are extending your CDS view, extend view with, Satish, there is no limit. You can try to extend a CDS view with multiple append structures. Sorry, not append structures, my wrong, with extension of CDS view. But unnecessarily, include can be inserted within the table if SAP has given .ci include, or if you are creating a .ci include. Normally, now in today's requirements, we are not creating that much .ci includes. We are always go with appending views and all. Right, Stephanie? We always, whenever you are creating Z fields and all, you are going with Z append structures. Right, Stephanie? Am I right or am I wrong? And that even helps more in your SPDD and SPOW whenever you are going for an upgrade with respect to your client or with respect to your organization. Because if you are adding to your .ca include, those .ca include will also come as a part of your next release. But append structures won't be hampered much because directly you can compare. Are you getting my point, Stephanie? Stephanie, are you there? Yeah. Okay. So now you need to remember that there are certain restrictions which comes into picture when you are enhancing or extending a CDS view. Okay. So one of the restriction is that here in your extended CDS view you cannot specify a key. You cannot specify a key here. You cannot specify a key. This is one major restriction. It will say you an unexpected word. Okay. You cannot specify a key here. Second restriction is that once you have transported this extension from your development system to either quality or production or pre-production systems, you cannot rename any of your CDS view extensions, neither your append view. So be careful while providing your name and nomenclature with respect to your extensions, as in the DDL source, so anyways it will be there, with respect to your extended CDS view entity and your SQL view, append view. Okay, you cannot rename the same. No renaming after transport. Third point is that in your append structures, the recommended namespace is ZZ, right? in your append structures, the recommended namespace is ZZ, but there is no such namespace nomenclature which exists for your CDS view extents. So, and also as I told you, like with CDS views in general, it is advisable, but it is not mandatory to use the same name for the DDL source and the CDS extension entity. Okay. And a very important point, as I told you, do not think about change in the nomenclature once you have transported this from your development to either quality or pre-production or production. Please remember all these 3-4 restrictions which I told. If you are anytime, any day, you are extending your CDS view. Okay. Now, one more important point. Suppose whose we will take? We will take for right now. I took for okay. Give me any of your Z CDS views. Anyone give me any of your Z CDS views apart from Vimla and Aldo already gave. Anyone give me your Z CDS view. I need to show you one more concept. Anyone give me any of your Z CDS views? Anyone? Is nobody giving? Okay, Vimla gave one more. Fine, thanks Vimla. Now suppose in this data definition, okay, fine. Suppose example in any of your standard CDS views, if you find this annotation @ABAP catalog dot view enhancement category and the value that you see as none, suppose, okay, if you see this value as none, Control and F3, let me activate this. Now if you see this annotation value @ABAP catalog dot view enhancement category as none, and if you try to enhance this CDS view, as in extend this CDS view, you will get an error that the enhancement will not be applicable because of this annotation. So please make a note, if you see this @ABAP catalog dot view enhancement category as none, it will restrict the extensibility of your CDS view. So please make a note of this. If you find this annotation, before extending, first thing that you need to check whether that CDS view is extended or not. Obviously you can check easily. Second point, check for this annotation, whether this annotation is there or not. Third point, also if you want to check, you can check from the SQL view as well, because there you will find any append view is there or not. So first check for all these restrictions. 4, be very careful while you are doing the nomenclature, because once you transport your extended CDS view, you cannot rename the same. 5th point, there is no such nomenclature restriction like we have for append structure. The recommendation is ZZ. Here it is not such applicable. Is this clear up to this point, guys? Okay, fine. Now, one more point that I had told you on that day, that I'll show you a demo list report with respect to CDS and annotations. So I'll just show you a glimpse of like how we had give me 2 minutes before it loads. Yeah, Danny, same only. I'm just opening your Chrome and all. So you are able to see the screen, right? The list report application. Okay, fine. Let me just reload it once. So this is till it loads. I'll just give a brief. So this is basically your list report application, okay, which has been built with minimal UI5 coding. Minimal UI5 coding, why I say, because there are certain templates which comes as a part of your SAP Fairy Elements template. I'll just give a small brief. There are certain templates which comes as a part of your SAP Fairy Elements template, and like which helps you to design UI patterns, and those are restricted to common application use cases only. Okay. So there are certain predefined templates which you can use, and the benefit that you get as a part of this development is that you can develop this efficient and highly beneficial this Fairy based templates apps in a very minimal amount of time. So there is high development efficiency which you get, and with respect to your business scenarios and with respect to your use cases. And the important point is that you do not need to build the user interface over and over again. And as since there are predefined templates and all, so it will make sure that most of your clients gets consistency with respect to what templates they want. Okay, and the entire business logic and all stays as a part of your CDS view, and this template gets generated as part of your SAP predefined templates. So, and the best part is that the effort that you put for designing all these templates is very less. If you see this application that this front-end application that you have created, it will not take much time. It will hardly take you 2 to 3 hours to completely build this entire application. This is completely done only with CDS and annotations. Very minimal UI5 coding, very minimal. You can say hardly 1 to 2% with respect to certain configuration. Now, what this list of configuration does is, I have even grouped the data as per your respective state, and it will show you the summation as well. If I click on this city other than Hyderabad, and if I expand this, so you will get the cities details other than Hyderabad. Okay, and if I scroll it here, you will get the summation of this entire thing, because I've done the grouping on the basis of the state and the district. So it will be showing you the group data on the basis of your state and district, and I've filtered out the data with respect to the tabs. So this filter will show you the cities only apart from Hyderabad, and you can see the count also will change. If I click on the city Hyderabad now, then you see the count changes to 22. And if you see expand this, the customer name is John St. Paul here. So again, if I want to filter the data, as in I want the data only with respect to this customer name as St. Paul. So again, if I expand this, the count of records becomes 19. And here, if you drag this, you will get the total summation of all the sales value. Now, there is a navigation also provided here. You can export this entire data to an Excel, as in you can export the data and provide to your end users if they want. Second thing, that I can navigate here. So this is my district, this is my state, this is my general details, as in the main information, this is my material details. If I click on scheme details, this goes to scheme details, the valid from, valid to, and all. So this is your navigation from your list report to your object page. So if I navigate on this, now my details changes as it's coming from there. And if I go back here again, so here also it is. If the end user wants to export this entire data into a spreadsheet, they can do it there. So now guys tell me, isn't it looking very beautiful? Like this template, you don't have to do any UI5 coding. It's just that entire CDS with annotations, it will help you to do this. And also if I want to filter out the data, I have got filters here as well. I can filter out the data from here as well. So if I click on this, and if I click on go, see the data also starts coming. I can choose anything and click OK. So accordingly, this will get changed. Whatever you want to pass. If you want to filter the data, pass the value here and you can again filter out the data from there. So this is your overall from the UI5 end. Now I'll just show you the code that was used as a part of this CDS view. So the code that we used was, yeah Danny, we are exploring on the same. We are exploring on the same from Business Studio. So have you tried from your end, Danny, like connecting from Business Application Studio instead of WebID? Okay, so we have already started exploring on the same. You can get back to us in case of any queries and all. So now let me show you the CDS view that we had used for the same. So this CDS view is used completely with annotations, as in the front-end annotations, and with respect to your metadata extension and all, we have used this concept. So it's extended with metadata extensions, UI annotations, and all with annotations. So SAP AR has a detailed course on this, as in how to build the query elements based applications with the help of your CDS and annotations. So we keep on enrolling the courses. I think maybe it will be conducted next year. So if you are interested in learning this, how to build very fast applications with respect to your query elements templates, which will take only CDS and annotations into picture, you can kindly enroll for the same if you are interested. So it will be CDS with query element saldo. The details, you just keep on checking SAP AR website. So whenever you get the notification, you can enroll for the same. Okay. So one request to all of you is that all of you already, you should have subscribed to SAP AR so that you keep on getting notifications on with the latest updates and whatever trainings are going to come. With anyways, with respect to latest blogs, latest webs, and even in the website, whatever information we keep on updating. So this is just to give you a brief heads up on how we build a list report by using just CDS and this thing. So there is very minimal coding in the respect to UI, only certain configurations which are required. And in this way, you can build this application. So guys, do you like this application, like which is built with respect to the how the grouping has been done, how we can filter the data from here, how we are able to navigate, how to even export all these features that you are getting. So you can design this type of application and show to your clients or to your end users if they like it, then you can try to implement the same in your organizations. And the best part is, you know, we as an ABAP developers, mark my words, we as an ABAP developers who does not know much about UI5 coding and all, it's a very important skill for them, because they don't have to learn UI5 from scratch or something. Just some small information or the other will do, because it's mostly built on your CDS and annotations. Chandra, what do you say? Did you like this? Okay. CDS name is this one. And one more thing, please do not change any of this code in this. The CDS name is ZCDS_list_report. If you just want to go have a look through it. Okay. First, okay, fine then. First, should we move on to the assignment discussion, as in take this as an assessment of your today. Please work on it because since the tomorrow will be the last class, so better please work on this assessment as in the assignment which I am giving today, so that we can have a discussion. Like initially we had a good discussion today, right? What do you say, Kiran? Like we had a discussion on the different approaches, like somebody used convert underscore currency, I use CD underscore conversion. So we get 2 to 3 different approaches when we discuss, and we come up with the solutions and more of ideas. So that's the best part of discussion that we have. So the assignment that I'm giving you today is, so you need to create a report which will have a selection screen, and here you need to pass the material number as a part of your range. Okay, and once you input this, you need to display the following details only: the material number, the material description, and the material type description. Okay. Then the following output which you need to assume is by using CDS table function only, along with the AMDP database function, and not via the conventional ABAP or AMDP. Okay. So in the ABAP layer, you call the CDS table function and pass the select options input parameters. Okay, because here I need select options, not parameters, select options. Okay, pass the select options input parameters and get the desired output. Main logic is you need to make use of MAKT table for the material description, as in MAKTX, and T1 C4T cost line table for your material type description, MTBEZ. And also the material type description should be concatenated along with the material description. Okay, here I have given concatenated as we mean. It's up to you how you get this output in this way. It should give me the metad along with the material type description. Next part is that also you need to filter the data, because I need the data only in English, because there will be other languages as well. You need to filter the data only on English. So this is the first statement. Okay, and if you are handling this concatenation at the ABAP layer, then you need to make sure that you need to make use of modern ABAP. But what I will recommend is you can handle this at the HANA layer only. In case, anyways, we will discuss this tomorrow, but please try to handle all this at the HANA layer only. First, analyze the data, how will you achieve the requirement, and then proceed. And then you get an idea as to either you need to write the code at any ABAP layer, or you can do everything at the HANA layer. Second part, can we debug a table function, or can we see the data preview of a table function? Already we saw this, still I have given to you so as to analyze. How do you define an AMDP function for CDS? This also I have shown you still, so that you can try your hands on. And where do we create a CDS table function? You already all know the answer. Can you all tell me the answer for question number 4? Where do we create a CDS table function? Anyone? Where do we create a CDS table function? Yes, Chandra, this is the right answer. Where do we create is like we create in ADT, right? As in the tool. We create a CDS in ADT, Eclipse ADT. We cannot create in SAP GUI. Similarly, we have to create a CDS table function in ADT only. Satish, the answer is ADT, because we create a CDS table function where in ADT, right? As a part of your DDL source. Did you get the point, Satish? Okay, fine then. So please work on this assignment. We will have a discussion tomorrow, and I'll show you an important concept tomorrow as a part of this assignment only. So until if you do this assignment, you will not get the clarity on that, like how I'm trying to get something without using any concatenate or something. So tomorrow I'll show you that. Fine then. So can we call it a day today, and we'll catch up tomorrow for our last class. So is everything clear today? AMDP functions, CDS table functions, how to call, how to extend the standard CDS view, how to handle if there is any database limitations. So whatever code I am giving you, you can keep a handy copy of those codes. Just copy paste the same. Yeah, Kiran, we can extend AMDP as well, but there are a lot of limitations for that. Standard parties and all have to be there, that we are not covering because normally we don't get that type of requirement. Yeah, yes. Anuja, you can, for any system extension and all, you can drop a mail to this thing. Satish, as I already told you, suppose if you want to get a data from CDS table function, and on the data you want to again further join with other CDS and all. Suppose there are two standard CDS which you want to use, and you again want to have created your want to filter the data by passing select options, and you want to further do the data modeling on the basis of those three. So CDS table function, you pass the select options, you get your data, and in a CDS where you are calling the CDS table function and those standard three CDS, you do your ultimate data modeling and pass the data back. Yeah, Chandra, we are having question and answer already, so we will have today also. And tomorrow I'll show you update via AMDP as well. Yes, Stephanie, I already told you. Tomorrow I'll show you that. How do we update via AMDP? Chandra, tomorrow first initially we have discussion only, like we have today, right? So tomorrow we will have discussion first. And this part I really want you all to work with tomorrow, because there is an important concept with respect to this which tomorrow I'll show you. So that's why I'm telling, please work on this assignment, as take this as a part of your assessment for today. Satish, did you get your answer? CDS table function. Okay, fine then, let's catch up tomorrow with high enthusiasm and positive note, and we will end this training tomorrow. Okay, fine then, bye bye guys.